Hello, Tahila here, and I'm going to have just a very quick talk again. I find it very unpersonal to do it this way, but the way that it is structured, being live, is supposed to be so that we can have some interactions, but I know time zone differences and all sorts. So it's not a matter of ego of needing somebody to watch. I know I get messages all the time of the impact I'm having, so I'm really loving it. It's not me, it's this platform, it's this potential, it's the openness of hearing. But something that's been sort of niggling at me to talk about is the shame that people feel when they're not feeling better after having done the workshops or the self-help books or the mindset stuff that they've been told, like so many people are, saying this worked for me and this worked for me, and then doing them and feeling, but it's not working for me, or I'm still, highly strung or anxious or struggling with my relationship or struggling financially, in whichever form you might be finding that it's really hard. And I just wanted to set something straight about why it might not be working for you at the moment. And there could be a whole bunch of things. But one of the things that I really want you to realize is that there's a subconscious part of you that's filtering information all the time. Your reptile brain is there for survival. So it's constantly on the lookout, seeing if there's threat or not. And the more chilled you are, the more relaxed it is, the less high alert it is. But let's say you're in the wild and you're on your own, every single twig is going to make you more responsive and startled, and your blood will be pumping all the time, ready to take action as necessary. So the more stressed we are, the more we're focusing on the negative things that are going on around us. And the problem is that most therapy and these things that we try to do, cognitive behavioral therapy, the things that we try to do to make ourselves feel better are only for when we're already conscious of the trigger, when we're already conscious of what just happened, of what's going on around us. And that, according to the Libet experiment, is already 0.6 seconds too late. 0.6 seconds ago is when we were actually triggered, and we're only aware of it 0.6 seconds later. And in our brain's term, that's nearly 200 miles that it's traveled. So you might be thinking, why am I anxious? This is ridiculous. I shouldn't be anxious about this. But that feeling, that response has went and grabbed all the previous times you've ever felt like that, and is adding to fuel to that moment. So when we're not getting it right, it means most likely that there is a whole bunch of stuff behind that's happening 0.6 seconds before you're even aware of it. And typical, talking and reading and the things we try and do, the self-help stuff we do, we're trying to go from the conscious mind to the subconscious mind and pull new neural pathways from that. So if you go to a therapist or you go to somebody, they say, if you're angry, you need to go for a walk. Fantastic, it can work. But when you're going for that walk, you're already 0.6 seconds, not too late. It's still, every bit matters, but you're already trying to deal with something that's already pressed that alarm bell, the sirens are ringing, everything's going. And you're trying to make a pathway from the conscious to the subconscious. And what we want to do, and what BWRT luckily, thankfully gets right so well, is that it reframes the subconscious so that you can approach things from the subconscious side. So you already immediately reframe the trigger so that you don't have that 200 miles of data gathering that it does, that adds fuel to the fire. But this wasn't really a post about BWRT, but I'm more than happy to share about it. I really love it as a tool. I find it very, very informative. But what I really wanted to say is that when we beat ourselves up because we're not getting it right, when we're not getting there, when we're not doing the things that we want to, we're adding more distance between where we want to go. So if it's not working, do seek professional support. And I really believe that we all need somebody at some stage of our life. That being, completely chilled, having a secure childhood, having very perfect relationships is rare, and normally by those people that have already done a ton of work on themselves. So when you're seeing your life, comparing it to people's highlight reels like one would on social media, it's not good medicine. It doesn't help you to see yourself accurately. And I have found that even though it feels counterintuitive, like, oh, I failed at this and I should be trying harder, what you often actually need to be doing is being kinder to yourself. Less trying, more being. I hope this helps to some extent. The other thing that I just want to add, and I've spoken about it a lot of times, but just on top of that part of where we don't want to go, is when we think of what we don't want, we are manifesting it. We're thinking about it. We're creating images of it. We're putting ourselves in that thing. So if we're thinking, I don't want to lose my job, or I don't want to go broke, or I don't want to break up, or we're putting a lot of energy of what we don't want, and that's normal. I don't want toxic positivity at all. But I do want us to become consciously aware of, okay, if this is what I don't want, where do I want to go? So that there's always hope or direction at least attached to that situation, because in that moment, in those feelings, it can feel really overwhelming and challenging to get through it. I hope this resonates. Have a beautiful day. Cheers.